So today we're talking about plums, the absolute queen of fruit. Plums are Prunus domestica. They've been cultivated for literally thousands of years. There are two basic types of plums, plums for drying and plums for juicing. And here we have the early plums. Aren't they gorgeous? Tasty and beautiful. Plums are usually divided into two separate types of plums. The Asian plums, which ripen first, are extremely juicy. They're like little juice bombs that explode in your mouth and the juice runs down your arm. They were traditionally used to make plum wine and plum sauce. European plums are meatier. There's not as much juice. They tend to be sweeter. They tend to ripen later. And they are mostly used as a sugar substitute for preserving and especially for drying. Plum trees are a mid-sized tree. They will grow to be approximately 15 feet tall by 15 feet wide without pruning. So plum pollination can be a little complex, but to make it simpler, there's a nice way to think about it. If you break it up into two different pieces, it makes it easy to think about. Asian plums and European plums. This is an example of an Asian plum. This is the Hollywood plum. It has beautiful purple leaves and these lovely light pink flowers. They make wonderful landscape plants. Asian plums will pollinate other Asian plums, and they also pollinate pluots and plum-based complex crosses. Now let's take a look at a European plum at the same time on the same day and see what its flowers look like. And here we have a lovely damson plum. This is a European plum. It's not even thinking about blooming. So that's the difference in bloom time between the Asian plums and the European plums. It's several weeks different. So Asian and European plums both bloom and ripen at different times of the year, so they're not usually able to cross-pollinate with one another. The Asian plums ripen early and bloom very early in spring. They ripen in the early part of the hot season. European plums tend to bloom about 2 to 3 weeks later than Asian plums and ripen up to a month later. You should plant your plum trees in an area that receives full sun being 6 to 8 hours a day. If they don't get full sun, then the fruit will not ripen correctly and it will not sweeten all the way. And it would be a shame to miss the beautiful sweetness of this lovely fruit. Plum trees tend to be a little bit too big to put in a pot. So unless you're planning some special bonsai strategies, don't put your plum in a pot. Plums can be grown in zones 3 to 8, so even cold season gardeners can enjoy them. Don't forget to water your new plum tree at least once a week, 10 gallons per week minimum, for the first 2 years that your plum is in the ground. You don't have to worry about fertilizing your tree when you plant it. Please do not put any fertilizer in the planting hole. Just go ahead and put in compost and the soil that came from the hole and step back and watch it grow. And thanks for joining us for talking about plums. It's Laura with Raintree Nursery. We'll see you next time.